Welcome to Rauta's Indie 5. This time I have 4 releases by a Finnish black metal label Bestial Birch and one other as a bonus one because, well, Bestial Birch sent me only 4 releases. Couldn't fit them all 5 with the 4 ones. You get the idea. Anyway, this is purely about black metal, well, more or less anyway, but there's some twists and turns along the way. But once again, let's go to these 5 albums, or releases actually, because a couple of them are MCDs in alphabetical order, so nothing is favored because of the style or quality, but just alphabetical order. This time we'll start with a split. This features 2 bands from Finland. One of them is, as you can read, a Ceremonial Torture, and then there is a Black Goat. Actually, it's Finnish and Russian split. I don't know why I said 2 Finnish bands. I'm just not I'm just not awake yet. Call that a hard weekend. It's Monday when I'm filming this, by the way. So anyway, this one features 2 bands on a split. Now, this is a very interesting one, and not mainly in a good ways. First of all, Ceremonial Torture is something that I featured earlier with some other review, but Black Goat is a new name for me. Now, Ceremonial Torture is definitely the one which is more original here, but not necessarily the better one. Has 2 members, or basically like 1 member, and then session ones called Cold Prayer, and then there's session keys and guest vocals and stuff like that. Whereas Black Goat seems to be a trio from Russia, and their style is more kind of old school black metal. Very simple riffs and right to the point with their material, which is kind of decent, but, you know, suffering a little bit from, like, weak drumming, like as if the, basically drum sounds, that is, as it's like there's only 1 mic to cut it all, and then you just miss some splashes and crashes and whatever, but it mainly focused with some parts of the drums, which kind of makes it rather annoying. Makes it sound it's more like a demo material, whereas the songs are pretty much okay, but suffering from a weak production. Now, Ceremonial Torture is definitely the weaker one, but in my opinion, in a way, the more interesting ones, because it's almost like raw black metal combined with something like dungeon synth, even with gothic vibes. And why I'm saying dungeon synth is because this is mostly keyboard operated and bass guitar operated metal with drum machine, and it creates this weird feeling because it's mostly those kind of a Mortis era or style dungeon synth parts and bass guitar doing the stuff. It's not like so guitar driven as it usually is, and because of this it kind of sounds more like gothic music rather than your typical black metal. It's interesting, but definitely not right up my alley. In case you want something different from Finnish black metal scene, go for Ceremonial Torture, but unless you like really love dungeons and synth-driven music, well, stay the hell out of it. It's hard cookie to crack. The second one here is also by Bestial Birch. This is a Finnish black metal project, Kurnugia, with Blood and Necrosemen. I have no idea what Necrosemen is. Sounds like a dead sperm to me, if you ask what I'm thinking about it. 2 guys, and it seems later on one of the guys split up with the band in 2021, at least according to Metal Archives anyway. And this one was recorded as early as 2020. Now, Kurunukia was an ASCII side project, and it's raw mid-tempo black metal. Very simple riffs, kind of a raw production that is sounding very, very kind of homemade, but not in a bad way, I must add. And then you have vocals which are kind of a part growly, like a death metal thing, and kind of a distant screams, like shrieks from the past. That is so kind of like old school black metal in that sense, like there is no seam between the death metallic parts, be it riffs or vocals, and those black metal ones. It's like going back to 80s, you know, and as such, I kind of like it. But let's be honest about it, those simple riffs are something that you get kind of bored very, very quickly. Now, this is a 17 minutes MCD, so it's more like a filler, like a bridge between 2 albums in case you're listening multiple albums a day or night. And as such, it can totally fit in, but giving it multiple spins one after another, it kind of get a little bit boring after a while. The production is pretty basic, raw stuff like that, so it's not a hi-fi release. But then again, I don't know if that would really fit the music here as well. Now, this was originally done in 2020, released in a digital format back then, and then as tape early 2021, and now 13th of September it was now on CD, which I think is a very, very fitting format for the music. So for old school black metal heads, that is very much for you. Then we go to Netherlands with a band called Schavot. This is actually the only one which is not released by Bestial Birch and this batch, but a couple of kind of a split release with I think it's War Production and something Wondering Productions. And this is melodic black metal with a very, very fast tempo. One could even say this is like a black metal of Dark Funeral style. Fast tempo and melodic all the way, but with a more, say, German kind of melodics instead of being the kind of a Nordic kind. And even though this band is from the Netherlands, not from Germany, it sounds so much like many German bands. You know, bands like Mavarin, Totenwache, and Sarkrista in a way, but not having this kind of a Finnish flavor in it. Now, it's more like these melodic parts are a little bit towards something which could be described as medieval style of music, but not kind of folky and all that stuff. So it's a little bit less grim and less evil and dark than, say, Dark Funeral. But the style is roughly the same. That is fast tempo, it's melodic, and then there are these mid-tempo parts where the band kind of slows down in order to create more contrast with the faster parts, and I think that works well. But the downside is, this is very much a one-trick pony. Once you've heard a track or two, you know where the rest is going to go. For a 35 minutes of an album, that's not too bad, because it doesn't get too repetitive towards the end, but it's pretty much like you figured out by the second track, and nothing's going to change. So there are no high points or weak and low points. It's more like all the way, very, very consistent in style and quality, but kind of repetitive. Anyway, we're checking out. It's pretty decent, an album, maybe even the best of this batch, but kind of also a little bit less original than most of what we have here. Then it's another split album by Bestial Birch, and these are two Finnish bands, mostly rather anonymous in lineup, especially when it comes to a band called Sombre Figures. There's basically no lineup information available beyond what you can actually see on this booklet. So it's 3 members, but even Metal Archives doesn't say anything about these members, so I didn't bother digging because it goes beyond the limits of this review video. Then there are also 3 members in Moon Urkel, which is the second band here with this one, and that has Harold Mentor, the guy behind Bestial Birch and Ride for Revenge and other bands, and well, he's doing vocals here. And the main guy of the band, if we can call it that, is this, I don't know how to pronounce it, because this font is rather unreadable with my old eyes, but he's man of fame of very many Finnish black metal bands, especially from the Tampere-Jyväskylä region. And then there is a synthesizer guy doing, well, synths obviously. Now, the theme of this split seems to be graves or dooms, because there are two songs, one by either band, and both are themed as graves. It's Finnish black metal with Finnish lyrics and all. Not that these lyrics are mentioned here, except, well, they are. But I mean, it's not like they're translated for you. So once again, showing them here. So here's Somber Figures with Haudan Kaivaja, Gravedigger, and Moon Urkel with Hauta Sonatti, Grave Sonate or whatever. And this is very simple in design. Now, both are interesting in the terms of creating Finnish black metal in the kind of a slow tempo way. It's almost like these bands were operating doom black. And that might sound odd, but it isn't. It's just something that is, I guess, not so common in many places. It seems like in Finland, some of these kind of bands are operating kind of a raw and primal and barbaric, but also slow tempo. So instead of going the traditional fast tempo black metal with, you know, Marduk and Dark Funeral style, these bands go kind of a vice versa. Not sounding clean and nice in production, but kind of a raw and, you know, barbaric, like orcs doing black metal, I guess. It's interesting, but kind of hard to swallow because these songs are both quite lengthy, like closer to 10 minutes each. And while this is MCD with less than or about roughly 20 minutes, it gets quite a, you know, repetitive, much like so many Doom songs when you have like 12 minutes on any given track. So even though you have slow tempo, it doesn't mean like you have to repeat the every note and riff the same amount of times as you would do with a 4 minutes but a fast tempo one. And this is gonna be, in my opinion, a kind of a deal breaker for the audience. Some people who like it, kind of a short and sweet, even if it's raw, brutal, and primal and primitive and all that stuff, they don't necessarily like the repetition gone doom. But both people who are into slow tempo and who like actually something different, black and doom kind of a combined, might actually find this really fascinating. For me, it's kind of a mediocre release, and it's much like a demo split in a way. Not bad, but totally needs some, I don't know, honing, or maybe a little bit, pushing the envelope, so to speak, with the songwriting as well as, overall design. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind if the production was actually a lot stronger. That doesn't necessarily mean more cleaner or more crispier, but I guess it would help. I mean, it would give this an extra nudge or extra kick. But I mean, to each his own. Maybe I'm totally wrong here. I'm usually very, very much wrong when I'm just, pissing on albums and whatever. People like happy reviews, like, hey, you should just like everything because, yeah, there is no bad music, especially the kind I like. And that's where I end in negativity with this band called Unsalvation. This is a Finnish chaotic death metal band, which kind of goes very, very brutal and against the grain, against mainstream. Unsalvation is doing things the way that doesn't even read want to release lyrics because nobody reads them, and if they do, they're not gonna like them. I don't know. For me, it doesn't really matter whether or not this one has lyrics, because musically this is kind of a shite. I hate to be this negative Joe, and I hate to piss these people off because I get no joy pissing people off. But I can't say anything good about this release. First of all, it sounds really, really messy. Now the thing here is, these guys want to do death metal, but with a very, very poor sound. Now, how I like my death metal, it either has to be really brutal and sounding heavy. Think of Cannibal Corpse. Or when it's going technical and brutal, think of Origin. Yeah, like it. Nile, you get the idea. And when it's going more simple direction, well, Deicide and Obituary are gonna cut it. Or maybe we go into Entombed and Dismember ideas, kind of a groovy, kind of a melodic, simple, but right in your face, crushing. This does neither of these things, any of these things. This is just kind of a chaotic death metal, kind of a flirting with revenge, but lacking the aggression, lacking the skill, lacking the production, lacking the vocals, lacking just everything that is supposed to be, somewhat good and relevant. Like, the only thing I can give this credit for, that they wanted to be chaotic and noisy, and they got it. This is noisy, but at the same time, it's kind of sounding weak in terms of death metal. They wanted to be chaotic, yeah, surely they got it, but who's gonna like this? Surely a marginal of people, and they're gonna be angry at me because, hey, you didn't like Unsalvation. You're supposed to like this kind of underground barbaric death metal with chaos and noise and whatever. But it's not gonna happen for me. I'm sorry for that. I kind of wished I could like and praise this album, but I really can't. To me, it sounds like a waste of my fucking time. So, the worst of this pile is Unsalvation, only for a very, very marginal audience who likes something really different and who don't care for good sound. They are like allergic to strong production. But people who are more into kind of mainstreamist ways of black metal, in my opinion, this is also the best one on this pile, called Schavot. So, yeah, that's it. 5 different releases of various styles. You have doom black, you have melodic black metal, you have chaotic death metal, and you have more synth-driven dungeons and black metal. All kinds of crazy stuff here. Most are marginal and not gonna appeal the mainstream, but then again, neither are you, or you wouldn't be watching Rauta channel to begin with. Now, have fun with these albums. They're already out by now. 30th of September for most, all of these Bestial Birch releases, and 1st of October for that Shabbat one. So, clickety-click, open those links mentioned in the description box and listen to the music, and I hope you like at least some of them. Meanwhile, take care and bye-bye. See you soon with more Rauta stuff coming your way.